Welcome to our Hong Kong Brief program, where we dive into the latest and most intriguing news stories. Today, we're covering a wide range of topics, from finance to climate change, and even a bit of entertainment. Starting off in the finance world, Singapore-based hedge fund Astignes Capital Asia is making waves by opening its new fund to outside investors, eyeing hundreds of millions for its strategy. Meanwhile, China's property crisis is leaving a mark on its biggest banks, with bad loan ratios on the rise. And in the bond market, the frenzy over Chinese government bonds seems to be cooling off amid concerns over returns. On a brighter note, Xiaomi is charging into China's competitive EV market with its debut model, the SU7, aiming to shake things up against giants like Tesla and BYD. Switching gears to climate and sustainability, Johan Rockström from the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research is calling on world leaders to stick to their climate commitments to avoid catastrophic damage to our planet. In other news, Asian stocks are looking up, thanks to positive vibes from Wall Street, while Netflix's adaptation of The Three-Body Problem is stirring controversy and conversation about cultural representation and political correctness. Lastly, we're touching on the art scene with Art Basel Hong Kong's full-scale return, testing the city's event appeal amid various challenges. And in the crypto world, the rise and fall of Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX serves as a cautionary tale for the industry, highlighting the need for better regulation and oversight. So, there you have it, a mix of finance, technology, environmental concerns, and cultural debates shaping our world today. Please stay tuned for more detailed content on these stories. Hedge fund Astignes seeks hundreds of millions for new strategy. Bloomberg. Singapore-based hedge fund Astignes Capital Asia is opening its Astignes Systematic RV Macro Fund to outside investors in April. The fund trades futures contracts in equity, fixed income, currency, and commodity markets, using computer algorithms and direct market access. The fund generated returns of over 15% since its inception in October 2023. Astignes founder Bart Brodmann co-founded Alphadyne Asset Management in 2005, with assets doubling since January 2019. Fellow Singapore-based firm Graticule Asset Management saw its flagship Asia Macro Hedge Fund suffer double-digit losses in March 2023. China's property crisis is rippling through its biggest banks. Bloomberg. China's bond frenzy fades amid worries best returns are over. Bloomberg. A rally in Chinese government bonds is set to end this month as expectations of higher debt issuance in Q2 and a weaker yuan threaten the haven buying spree. Coupon earnings from debt holdings have fallen to a 17-year low of 0.2% and bond yields are expected to come under upward pressure amid more government debt issuance. Additionally, the lack of credit demand in the real economy will trap liquidity in the interbank market, creating more demand for bonds. Xiaomi stakes growth on debut in China's cutthroat EV market. Bloomberg. Xiaomi, the Chinese smartphone giant, will unveil its first electric vehicle, EV, the SU7, on Thursday as it looks to muscle into China's EV market, which is dominated by Tesla and BYD. The SUV will likely enter the most competitive segment based on price predictions. The reception for the SU7 will dictate Xiaomi's stock momentum after a 22% gain since February. Xiaomi's $8 billion rally at stake as costly EV bet makes debut. Bloomberg. Chinese smartphone giant Xiaomi has unveiled its first electric vehicle, EV, the SU7 series, in a bid to break into the country's highly competitive EV market. Analysts predict the sedan will enter the most competitive segment, with pricing estimates ranging from 200,000 Chinese yuan, $27,667, to 300,000 Chinese yuan. The success of the EV will be crucial to Xiaomi's stock momentum, with reception dictating its future in a market dominated by the likes of Tesla and BYD. Xiaomi is expected to sell more than 50,000 units in the first 12 months of the car's launch. Countries must deliver on climate agreements they have signed, Johann Rockström. South China Morning Post. World leaders must set aside their geopolitical differences and act urgently to prevent irreversible damage to the planet, according to Johann Rockström, director of Germany's Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research. Although it will take time to see the benefits of decarbonization measures, it is crucial that countries stick to the commitments they have made, he said. There is a growing risk that global warming will exceed the Paris Agreement target of limiting increases to 1.5 C, according to the latest studies. Poison and Politics, the bizarre backstory to Netflix's latest blockbuster. The Sydney Morning Herald. Netflix's adaptation of the Chinese sci-fi novel, The Three-Body Problem, is dividing fans in China and around the world due to its depiction of the Cultural Revolution and its choice to set a significant part of the series in Britain. The show, which has been called a fresh interpretation of the original work, has been accused by some Chinese fans of shooting a Chinese story while engaging American political correctness. The series is the latest example of big-budget mainstream shows tackling difficult narratives in their original language, offering richer casting, diverse characters, and an immersion in foreign worlds that were previously missing from Western screens. The adaptation of The Three-Body Problem is part of a trend of international TV shows and films reaching a wider audience and breaking language barriers. The series follows the journey of a global mission to stop an alien invasion, starting in the midst of the Cultural Revolution in China and expanding to include various locations and characters from different backgrounds. Art Basel, Hong Kong's full-scale return test cities events appeal. Bloomberg. Art Basel is returning to Hong Kong with 242 international galleries exhibiting, giving a much-needed boost to the city's events scene. This year's fair will serve as a test of Hong Kong's ability to stage major events following several controversies and cancellations. Despite concerns over freedom of discussion being quashed due to the recent passing of the Article 23 security bill, Hong Kong remains the regional hub for the art world, attracting international visitors and boasting developed logistics and warehousing facilities. China's economic challenges, including a prolonged slowdown and weak markets, may dampen buyer interest in the art market. FTX's original sin is a warning to all of crypto. Bloomberg. The rise and fall of cryptocurrency entrepreneur Sam Bankman-Fried has revealed a darker side to the crypto industry. Bankman-Fried, the founder of FTX, was convicted of fraud and faces a potential prison sentence of 40 years or more. The collapse of FTX resulted in the loss of $8 billion in customer funds, but lawyers running the bankruptcy proceedings believe they will be able to recover enough money to repay all customers in full. Bankman-Fried's lawyers argue that the customer funds were redirected into profitable investments, suggesting that his actions were not malicious. However, an examination of trial testimony, exhibits, and interviews with insiders reveals that Bankman-Fried's rise was built on deceiving customers, investors, and banks. FTX was allegedly crooked from the very beginning, relying on trickery and fraud to create the illusion of success. The case raises concerns about the lack of regulation and oversight in the crypto industry. Despite the collapse of FTX and Bankman-Fried's conviction, the cryptocurrency market continues to thrive. Bitcoin is near a record high, and so-called meme coins are booming. The majority of trading still takes place on exchanges in countries with light regulation. Crypto boosters have even spun Bankman-Fried's conviction as a positive, suggesting that it marks a new chapter for the industry. However, the conditions that allowed Bankman-Fried to rig markets at FTX remain unchanged, and the industry's lack of regulation leaves it vulnerable to fraud and manipulation. Letters, unfair regulations, and net zero are piling pressure on British farmers. Telegraph. Farmers in the UK are protesting against unjustifiable regulations, net zero targets, and a rigged energy market that they claim are placing a burden on British consumers. They argue that the government should lift bans on imported food that is produced using methods banned in the UK. Some farmers believe that the government should focus on supporting them to produce quality food for the nation instead of encouraging them to turn agricultural land into wildflower meadows and wind farms. The short-termism of agricultural tenancies is also highlighted as a problem, with 80% of tenancies being for only 5 years or less. Meanwhile, a local butcher in Eastbourne claims that most farmers in the South Downs can no longer afford the necessary foodstuff for lambs, resulting in fewer lambs being born this year. The butcher suggests that this is due to the high costs of farming, which are making it increasingly difficult for farmers to continue their operations. China's EV market shows the future is already here. Bloomberg. Battery metals such as lithium, nickel, and cobalt have seen significant price decreases over the past year, leading to a 40% drop in battery pack prices between 2023 and 2025, according to Goldman Sachs. This will put the global average below $100 per kilowatt-hour, making electric vehicles, EVs, cheaper than traditional petrol-powered vehicles. In China, 6 of the top 10 best-selling cars in February were EVs, and BYD expects half of all cars sold in China by the middle of the year to be battery or plug-in hybrid. Rich events lineup puts spotlight on Hong Kong. SCMP opinion. Hong Kong is hosting a series of mega events as part of its post-COVID recovery strategy. These events, which include the renowned Art Basel, the International Cultural Summit, the Milken Institute's Global Investor Symposium, and the Asian debut of pop culture festival ComplexCon, aim to boost the economy and showcase Hong Kong's recovery to the world. However, concerns have been raised about the value for money of these events and the need to upgrade the quality of services and foster a stronger hospitality culture to attract more visitors. The article also highlights the importance of good planning and implementation to prevent mega events from turning into debacles. New MPF platform to offer Hong Kong investors more control over portfolios. SCMP opinion. Hong Kong is introducing a single unified platform for its mandatory provident fund (MPF) system, allowing investors to have more control over their portfolios and adjust their holdings in response to market shifts. This is the first major reform of the MPF system since it was launched in 2000. Currently, the 12 different MPF providers have their own platforms with varying capabilities, making it difficult for investors to react to market changes. The new platform will be rolled out in stages, with smaller players moving over first in June and larger players like HSBC and Hang Seng Bank moving over by the end of 2025. The platform is expected to reduce administration costs by 30% in the first 2 years and improve the ability of members to respond to market sentiment. Dubai prince abruptly postpones opening of $500 million family office in Hong Kong. South China Morning Post. Dubai Prince Sheikh Ali Rashid Ali Saeed Al Maktoum has postponed the opening of his new family office in Hong Kong. The prince had pledged to invest $500 million into the office. The delay was announced by the office's vice-chairman and CEO Eleanor Jane Mack, who declined to comment on the reasons behind the postponement. The prince, who is little known, is a nephew of the ruler and Prime Minister of Dubai. His announcement of the investment had attracted the attention of Chinese enterprises. However, there has been skepticism about the source of the prince's wealth and his links to the ruling family. The prince has said he is keen to invest in sectors including AI, electric cars, fintech, and construction. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.